Coming up on the final Sports Extra of 2016. Another week, another team in the Final Four as men's soccer punched a ticket to the College Cup.
It's one in and one out as the women's soccer team fell short in its bid for soccer supremacy.
And the men's basketball team thinks anything is possible, especially against an overmatched opponent. All that and so much more. Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Media and Journalism, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
It was another big week of Carolina football action. Thanks for kicking it with us, and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Caleb Waters.
And I'm Peyton Walker. Both the men and the women were deep into the playoffs. The men trying to make it to the Final Four, the women in the semifinals for the 27th time in program history.
Now we'll start with the men on Friday. On UNC's home pitch, Carolina took on Providence. By the way, isn't that the most terrifying mascot you've ever seen for a right to go to the College Cup? The Tar Heels had 16 shots during regulation, but were unable to convert, and it was the same story in the first overtime period. But Drew Murphy punched Carolina's ticket to Houston in the second overtime. It was a seldom used transfer's first goal as a Tar Heel. Let's take another look at that. A decent strike, but the keeper's got hands like a deer. Murphy was still on cloud nine after the match ended.
The ball came into me, and I'm left-footed, and it's kind of just like close my eyes and shoot. I don't really remember, to be honest. That's why I'm struggling with what to say, but best moment of my life.
Now, 9th-seeded UNC plays 5th-seeded Stanford in Houston on Friday night. Their winner will face off against either Denver or Wake Forest in the championship on Sunday. Carolina last faced Stanford at the 2001 Final Four when the Heels took home a 3-2 W after quadruple overtime match. That Tar Heel team went on to beat Indiana and do what this year's squad hopes to do by winning it all.
It was a sunny afternoon in San Jose on Friday as the Tar Heels competed in the semifinals against number 1 seed West Virginia. It was a hard-fought game to decide who would play for the ship, but the Heels just couldn't pull off the upset against the top-seeded Mountaineers. The lone goal came from West Virginia's Michaela Abam, who put a nasty move on the defender before finding the top corner with what proved to be the game winner. UNC failed to record a single shot on goal, and the loss means that this year's senior class will be the first to play 4 years under Anson Dorrance without a championship to show for it. Fetzer Field has hosted thousands of Tar Heels through the years, but Friday was the last time fans will flock to the stands for a while. All 4 teams that call Fetzer home advanced to the Final Four or beyond in 2016, with both men's and women's lacrosse teams bringing home championships in the spring. Fetzer will be closed for renovations until 2018, so teams will play their 2017 seasons off campus. Exact time to be determined. Players like Nils Bruning and David October have helped the men's soccer team get this far. And as Laura Brache tells us, they're just part of the international flair we see these days in Carolina athletics.
This year, UNC is home to 36 international student athletes, nearly 16% of the entire international student body, covering every continent around the globe.
England, Canada,
Netherlands,
Johannesburg, South Africa,
Australia,
from Hamburg, Germany.
But how exactly do they get here, or even know who we are?
The owner of Pass for Soccer actually contacted me after I put a video up on YouTube. The video is personal branding, and it shows the coaches that 1, you're really interested in doing it, and 2, your playing ability.
So I started emailing just the top 10, I think, of the field hockey here, and a few coaches responded. And eventually I went to visit some of them, and this one was, the best. So that's why I chose UNC.
Their own cultures now represent something with a heart of its own, and they seem as proud as any other Tar Heel born and bred.
They always say that the players and all the members of the athletic team bleed Carolina blue, and the longer you spend here, you actually feel as though it's ingrained in your blood.
Just the atmosphere here, people are great, the professors are great, the weather's great, can't really complain.
There's one thing these Tar Heels all agree about.
I am a Tar Heel.
I'm a Tar Heel.
I'm a Tar Heel.
We are Tar Heels.
That's a sentiment we all understand no matter where we come from. In Chapel Hill, I'm Laura Brache reporting.
It's pretty cool to see how into Carolina they are. Let's keep an eye out for these players, especially men's soccer this Saturday at the College Cup.
First round of the NCAA volleyball tournament was right here at home for the Tar Heels, and they took full advantage of the friendly atmosphere. Carolina kicked off the tournament against High Point, and Julia Scholes led the way with 16 digs and 9 kills. The whole team was having a blast, and the Panthers just could not catch up. The Tar Heels dumping on the Panthers. Abigail Curry gets 2, and then the first-year Mariah Evans follows suit. The Heels get the sweep to move on to round 2. And the Heels got off to a rocky start against Coastal Carolina, dropping the first set. But Haley McCorkle, the senior, got the momentum going with a career-high 14 kills, and she wasn't the only Tar Heel on fire. Beth Nordhorn slammed 11 kills on 15 swings, helping the Heels take the last 3 sets for the victory. They now move on to the Sweet 16 and will take on 10th-seeded UCLA on Friday night on ESPNU. Carolina sports just wouldn't be the same without all the Tar Heel fans we have. Jess Allen spoke to one volleyball fan who doesn't miss a match.
At every volleyball match, you can expect to hear Scott Lambeth. Lambeth was born and raised a Tar Heel, but he only recently has begun to support Carolina's volleyball team.
I've always been a fan of volleyball. That's one of the main sports I follow. When I watched the big Olympics, the more I was following the Olympics, I started thinking, oh, maybe I should start going to volleyball games here.
Volleyball's head coach, Joe Segula, says the matches wouldn't be the same without Lambeth.
He's been the super fan. Every game we have a special seat for him at the end, and part of the courtside club. Volleyball is an important part of his life, and he has made himself a part of our program.
I love to go to the volleyball games since they're very exciting. I mean, volleyball, I think it's an exciting game. It has a really thrilling with a lot of action.
Lambeth does more than cheer the women on at their games. He knows each of them by name. He goes out of his way to make each of them feel special.
He mails us cards and everything like that. Like on your birthday, he'll mail you a card. If he heard that you've been sick, he'll mail you a card, be like, hope you get better soon. And he knows all of us really well.
Julia Scholes says the energy Lambeth brings to the matches gets the crowd involved too.
And whenever we see Scott, he's going to bring the excitement and keep everyone around him pumped. So it's just really great to have that energy in the gym.
We have the best university in the world. It's the greatest feeling.
Coach Segula says fans like Lambeth are the heart of Carolina sports. He gets as much of a workout at each game as the players do. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jess Allen reporting.
Now, Lambeth is an athlete himself competing in the Special Olympics. And when Sports Xtra returns, Radford, more like Badford.
We'll show you highlights of the men's basketball team's beatdown of the Highlanders.
Seventh-ranked men's basketball team returned to the Dean Dome against Radford on Sunday, looking to bounce back from its first loss of the season at Indiana. Kenny Williams returned to the starting lineup and made sure the Heels wouldn't get off to another slow start like they did in Bloomington. The sophomore hit not 1, and not 2, not 3, but count them, 4 threes to start the game. He finished with a career-high 19 points. Seventh Woods threw it back to his mixtape days with his steal. You bring the peanut butter because he's bringing the jam. Carolina cruised to an easy 95-50 win against the Highlanders, but the win came with a giant cost as Joel Berry sprained his ankle on this play, and it was a scary scene for the team's leader, but Roy Williams is confident it's just a minor setback.
We hope that Joel will be able to practice between now and Sunday, now and Wednesday. As you can see, I don't even know what daggum day it is, but we'll have to wait and see what they say tomorrow, but I'm encouraged about it right now.
So for a deeper look at how the team is doing so far, we bring in basketball analyst John Assetti.
Only 1 loss in 9 games. Not bad, right, John?
Definitely not a bad start to the season. The Heels are back on track after that tough loss against Indiana with a dominant win over Radford. Obviously, there's a drop-off in quality between the past 2 opponents, and the team was probably happy to be back in the Dean Dome after all the traveling the Heels had to start the season, but there were still some big takeaways from Sunday's victory. The biggest story of the day for me was definitely seeing Kenny Williams light it up with a career-high 19 points against the Highlanders.
I mean, they were open looks. I was getting the ball in my pocket where I wanted it and where I needed it, and from there it was just mechanics. And I've been working all summer on that, so it came at no surprise that the ball was going in.
Williams went 5 for 6 from behind the arc, which is certainly a welcome sight for fans who were disappointed with his freshman season. He already has almost 3 times as many points this year as he did all of last season. In fact, his stats are up pretty much across the board. My personal favorite is his 3-point percentage, which has gone from a dismal 7% to a cool 50%. On the oh no side of things, I know I wasn't the only one holding my breath when I saw Joel Berry go down hard in the second half. Now, we don't know how long he's going to be sidelined, but his injury will certainly open up some minutes at the point guard position. I expect to see senior Nate Britt take Berry's spot in the starting lineup. We've seen him start before, and he has the poise and the experience to run the Tar Heels offense. But the biggest change is going to be for 7th Woods, who played a season-high 22 minutes yesterday against Radford. The rookie has shown he can be aggressive with the ball in his hands, but if Berry misses significant time, Woods will have to cut down on his turnovers to keep the Carolina offense running smoothly.
So, John, I'm just guessing here, but that Joel Berry injury doesn't come at a good point in the season?
It could not come at a worse point. The Heels have their toughest stretch of non-conference games in the next 2 weeks. Personally, I'd love to see Roy sit him against Davidson on Wednesday, if for nothing else, just to give him time to heal up for those big games the week next. The Tar Heels start by taking on Davidson, as I mentioned, on Wednesday night, Tennessee on Sunday, and then we'll travel to Las Vegas for a gargantuan showdown with 6th-ranked Kentucky in the CBS Sports Classic on December 17th.
Well, we'll see if Coach Williams takes your insight into account. That's basketball analyst John Assetti. Thanks, John.
Despite a disappointing end to the season, the football team is going bowling. The Tar Heels will take on Christian McCaffrey and the Stanford Cardinal in the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas on December 30th. The game will air at 2 p.m. on CBS. Carolina is 2-2 all-time in the Sun Bowl, and Stanford was ranked at 7th at one point this season. To preview the matchup, let's bring in football analyst Paul Beam. Paul, what's the key to the game for the Heels?
Peyton, the key to this game isn't a secret. The defense has to find a way to silence the Wildcat, Stanford running back Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey is absolutely electrifying. He's racked up 1,639 rushing yards and 13 rushing touchdowns on the season. He was a Doak Walker Award semifinalist this year, which goes to the nation's best running back. Oh, and let's not forget, he was a Heisman finalist last season, finishing second to only Alabama running back Derrick Henry. McCaffrey is incredibly talented, and Stanford's success is almost entirely based on how McCaffrey performs. In the 11 games he's played, Stanford is 8-3. In the 8 wins, he's averaging about 180 rushing yards and almost 2 rushing touchdowns per game. In the 3 losses, McCaffrey averages just 59 rushing yards per game and has 0 touchdowns. Now that we've talked about the immediate future for the Tar Heels, let's look a little deeper into our crystal ball and talk about the quarterback situation for next year. As of right now, all signs point to Mitch Trubisky entering the 2017 NFL Draft, as ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr. projects him to be the top quarterback taken in this year's draft. If Trubisky does leave, UNC will be a frontrunner to land Notre Dame transfer Malik Zaire. The initial report on Zaire was that Notre Dame told him he couldn't transfer to any school on Notre Dame's schedule next year, with the exception of North Carolina. Now the report is that Zaire will get an unconditional release, so he'll be able to go anywhere he wants and will be available to play right away. While this new report hurts UNC's chances to get Zaire, the Heels still are high on his list of landing spots, and he'd be a perfect fit for the Carolina offense.
Well, I'm sure Coach Fedora would love to have him in Carolina Blue next year. That's football analyst Paul Beam live in studio. Thanks, Paul. Even though much of their schedules are now devoted to getting ready for the Sun Bowl, football players are still carving out time to put a little sunshine into the lives of others during the holiday season. Carolina football isn't just working on the field, but in the community as well. The guys partnered with Operation Christmas Child, an organization that sends goodie boxes to less fortunate children around the world.
We fill them with toys and necessities that a lot of underprivileged kids don't have the opportunity to get. A lot of the guys went out shopping a couple of weeks ago and they bought the goods, and so we came here today and we packaged them.
Wide receiver Thomas Jackson says even though the team has a busy schedule, he loves allotting time for service events.
I love doing stuff like this just because being able to give back with how much stuff that we receive and all the support that we receive, especially because we don't have a lot of time. I think this is great that after practice we can come in and pack up some boxes and help some people.
And what better time to help others than during the holidays?
The holiday season is very important. It's the season of Advent. It's the season of us recognizing where our blessings come from. And so this is a great opportunity for the players to give back.
Football isn't the only team giving back this holiday season. Our Donnie Holloway says some of our female athletes are just as into the joy of the season as the guys are.
Whether they're building houses, visiting patients, or bringing holiday cheer, Tar Heel athletes give back. And for the holidays, the softball team even took to the aisles of Walmart to pay it forward.
We're shopping for a 3-year-old girl named McKinley, the UNC softball family. We're looking for Dora, SpongeBob, anything to make her Christmas really special. So it's really fun so far.
Members of the softball team buying everything from bicycles to helmets to make young dreams come true.
Just being able to support other people and making their days is so much more special, and that stuff to me honestly brightens my day almost as much as it brightens theirs.
Brightening days while bonding as a team. That's the Carolina way. In Chapel Hill, I'm Donnie Holloway reporting.
Thanks to Carolina athletes, dozens of kids will have a brighter Christmas than they would have otherwise.
And just like the guys, the women's basketball team is off to a fast start.
What's the key to the Heels' early season success? Look no further than number 22.
The men's basketball team wasn't able to help the conference in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, so the women said, "We got this." Stephanie Watts scored 23 points to lead North Carolina to the 72-59 victory in the challenge. Watts, the reigning ACC Player of the Week, recorded her 4th double-double of the season, adding 10 boards, and North Carolina improved to 6-1. And Sunday afternoon, UNC hosted Elon in Carmichael Arena. Paris Key led the Heels with 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. Elon kept it close throughout the first half, but Stephanie Watts stole the momentum from the Phoenix, hitting this acrobatic layup at the buzzer to go to halftime. She finished with 17 points, as did Jamie Cherry. Here she gets the hoop and one. The Heels held on to win 78-73, and UNC will host Marshall on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m.
Skateboarding will be an official sport in the next Olympic Games. Parth Upadhyaya caught up with some skaters in the Triangle area and says there are mixed reactions.
The decision to include the sport in the 2020 Tokyo Summer Olympic Games has left the skateboarding community very much divided. A supervisor at the skate park, Skate Carry, Billy Dexter, thinks this change will open doors for the future generation of skateboarders.
I think the younger kids are excited about it because it'll give them opportunities to maybe get a college scholarship for skateboarding, which I think would be great. Maybe someday my child would go to college on a full skateboard scholarship.
Evan Gorzinski, an instructor at Skate Carry, provides the mentorship and guidance aspiring Olympians will need.
It's not just going around messing around your skateboard. Like, it's a serious thing for a lot of people. And it'll show people, like, now, it's to be taken seriously. It's no longer a joke.
Over at Trackside Skate Park in Apex, some skaters say although skateboarding isn't a joke, it's still not a good fit for the Olympics.
I feel like skateboarding is more of a lifestyle, and it's more about going against the grain and doing stuff like that, like that's not in the Olympics.
Some of those rebels now have the chance to share their skills and their unique culture with the world. In Cary, I'm Parth Upadhyaya reporting.
In addition to skateboarding, Olympics officials have added baseball, softball, and squash to the roster for the 2020 Tokyo Games.
Maybe you're on the road and listening to the big game. We've all done it before. Here's Moses Masula with a few students who want to be those voices on the radio waves who keep us informed.
Check, 1, 2, testing.
A student-run radio show where students record, edit, and publish their own podcast might impress the average person. But if you ask John Thomas and the crew of the Mendoza Line, they'll say their show is
mediocre at best.
John Thomas, Nathan Bernstein, and Jonah Lossie are all students of the journalism school. Every Sunday and Wednesday, they come together at Carroll Hall to record their podcast for the Mendoza Line. Mediocrity is how the name of the show came to be.
The name The Mendoza Line comes from a baseball player from back in the 70s. He batted barely above 200, which is considered the Mendoza Line in baseball. And we kind of say, you know what? We're on the air just because we're mediocre. We're good enough to be on the air, but that's about it.
The Mendoza Line isn't confined to only UNC athletics, but also includes NBA, NFL, MLB, and Premier League news. They've even had guest athletes appear on the show, including UNC women's lacrosse, Sydney Holman.
I wasn't too surprised when she was our first interview. We thought that'd be a great person to have a story for, and she was nice enough to come on.
Lossie says a lot of effort in the show.
We designate meeting times, we have made our own kind of schedule, and it's really been great because we can be professional, but we can also do something that we just love doing.
If you want to catch these future radio stars, the Mendoza Line podcasts are available on iTunes and SoundCloud. In Chapel Hill, I'm Moses Masilu, reporting.
The Mendoza Line will air its final show for the year this Wednesday, but will start right back up in January.
Coming up next on Sports Extra, we wrap up the semester with some of our favorite memories of fall 2016.
We promise this will give you chills. It has been a very good year of 2016 for Tar Heel athletics. Well, we've reached the end of another action-packed semester of Sports Extra.
It's been a whirlwind 6 months for UNC sports teams. This includes 4 Final Fours from Fetzer Field's resident teams, 2 lacrosse championships, and 1 great retrospective from our Michael Coe.
The Tar Heels and perfection in Philly, North Carolina, the 2016 national champions.
Cloutier, it's over!
Curry sets it for Leaf, and why not? Taylor Leaf finishes it off. North Carolina upsets the Badgers.
TJ Logan, he's got a step. Touchdown.
There's the shot, and they score! And the Tar Heels have advanced.
Switzer with the catch, first down.
They get in the end zone here. They'll be looking back on this game for a while.
With 5 seconds, he's going to throw it. Howard Leaf. He has it! Touchdown! Carolina back from the dead! A remarkable comeback for the Heels.
Drew Murphy has sent the North Carolina Tar Heels to the College Cup!
He doesn't want a first down, he wants a touchdown.
He's going to have to hit this absolutely perfectly from 54 yards.
It's going to have to be the kick of his life.
4 seconds to go. Good! And it's Carter with a 54-yard field goal.
The Tar Heels come in and steal one.
Wide open middle of the field, has it at the 20. Goodbye. Touchdown, Carolina.
A pretty incredible semester, and we can't wait to see what happens next year.
Well, a lot of great games there, a lot of great memories. Do you have a favorite one from this year, Peyton?
I think for me it has to be that last second win in Keenan against Pittsburgh. My dad and I made it out to the game, and it was one of the best we've seen together.
Yeah, a great football season and potentially a great basketball season ahead. So that does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next year.